2 millennia later, their walls still stand. Were they just builders, or did they teach stone to live?
They built rivers beneath their streets, turning filth into civilization. But what if I told you?
One recipe, one rotation of soil kept 1 million souls alive. Their secret wasn't conquest, it was breakfast. They charted the body like they mapped the heavens, believing balance, not battle, cured the living.
Hey friends, tonight we drift into the quiet world of the Roman Empire. Not the roaring arenas or the thunder of legions, but the small survival tricks that kept an entire empire breathing. You might be listening in the dark, maybe with candlelight, maybe with rain whispering outside. Wherever you are, take a deep breath and imagine yourself 2,000 years back, in a city that never truly slept, but hummed softly with survival. You can almost smell the dust of morning markets, the bread baking in communal ovens, and the faint tang of wet stone after rain. This is a calm journey into their world, the people who lived not by glory, but by habit, craft, and cleverness. Like the video, subscribe, tell me your city, and time down below. Now settle in. Let's step quietly into ancient Rome and learn how they stayed alive. Dawn creeps over the tiled roofs of Rome. You, half awake, feel the air shift, cool, dry, then fragrant with dust and olive oil smoke. The city stretches like a living thing, and beneath you, stones hum, stones that Romans engineered to last not for years, but for centuries. You slip from your bed, your feet brushing against cool floors made of opus signinum, crushed brick and lime, polished smooth. It's not marble, not grand mosaic, just durable, ordinary Roman cement. A material so clever it still confuses modern engineers. You push open a wooden shutter. Outside, dawn shimmers across the rooftops, and the alleys below already stir. Somewhere, a hammer clangs, the heartbeat of Rome's survival. It's concrete, it's roads. It's wood to build. You keep walking until the crowd thins and the noise fades into the evening hum. The kind of quiet that only cities old as stone can make. A potter sits outside his doorway, spinning a wheel with one bare foot. Clay gleams in the fading light. Wet, obedient. You stop to watch. The rim of a bowl rises under his hands, as if the earth itself remembers the shape. He looks up once, smiles faintly, then returns to his rhythm, spinning survival out of soil. There's no rush in the movement, no sense of ambition, just patience. That's what Rome thrived on. Not the roar of the Colosseum, but the slow repetition of gestures like these. The potter perfecting a curve so water won't spill. The carpenter measuring grain alignment before driving a nail. Each act small, yet combined they built a civilization that could endure famine, invasion, even neglect. You pass a public fountain, its surface trembling with the night's first breeze. Children chase each other around its rim while their mothers fill jugs from trickling bronze spouts, fed by an aqueduct miles away. Someone has carved initials into the stone, already softened by a century of touch. Rome is filled with these quiet signatures, anonymous yet eternal. Somewhere a door slams, echoing down an alley lined with plaster chipped by time. The scent of lemon oil floats from a nearby workshop where a man polishes a tabletop. He's working by lamplight, tiny flame dancing inside terracotta glass. You watch the shimmer spread across the wood, smooth as still water. Roman lamps burn on cheap olive oil, and even that simple substance fuels half the empire's routines: lighting homes, greasing tools, preserving food, waterproofing floors. Survival, distilled into oil and clay. You lean against a wall, feeling the faint warmth left from the afternoon sun. The wall breathes. Behind its surface lies a layer of crushed tile and sand mixed long ago to catch moisture and hold temperature steady. Romans built their dwellings like they built themselves, adaptable, layered, quietly clever. Nothing purely decorative lasts here. Everything must serve the rhythm of living. A pair of elderly neighbors gossip softly across the street about cracked tiles and taxes. Their words blend with the faint splash of a fountain. Rome's brilliance hides in such mundane complaints. It isn't marble that keeps a city alive. It's the endless conversation of repair. A loose hinge fixed before it squeaks. A drain cleared before the rain. The empire doesn't collapse overnight because ordinary people refuse to let it. You glance down at the ground again, tracing the lines between paving stones. Tiny weeds grow between cracks, each one crushed daily by carts, yet somehow alive. The same stubborn spirit that plants display seems to run through the city itself. Rome survives not because it's indestructible, but because it never stops rebuilding itself in miniature, every hour, every street. The evening bell from a nearby shrine rings low. It's not loud, just enough to remind everyone the day is closing. From a balcony, steam escapes from a pot of stew. You catch the smell of lentils, onions, cured fish. Simple food cooked in clay that will later harden completely by the dying fire, ready for reuse tomorrow. Recycling isn't invention here, it's instinct. By now the streets glow red in torchlight. The cobblestones reflect it like embers under glass. Markets taper off, stalls folding down until morning. On the corner, an old woman sells to remaining loaves of bread. They're darker than morning bread, slightly cooled. She hands one to a boy who pays with a cluster of small bronze coins. You notice how every loaf bears the stamp of its bakery. Quality control before such words existed. If the bread turned bad, the baker's mark shamed him. Accountability carved right into survival. You take a bite of your own loaf, crust hard but fragrant, and realize it tastes faintly of smoke and charcoal. The ovens used volcanic rock, porous, efficient, spreading heat evenly. They baked not only for homes, but for the empire's armies, on portable stoves mimicking the city's bigger ones. Every legion carried the empire's kitchen with it, comfort disguised as discipline. The night thickens as clouds fold across the stars. Streetlights shimmer on polished doorplates, throwing slow-moving shadows across walls decorated with painted patterns: red, black, ochre. Even here, in small back streets, artistry seeps through necessity. The pigments aren't random. They're mineral protection layers against humidity. Beauty as insulation. You run your hand over a fresco where time has peeled corners away. Beneath it, the plaster still smells faintly of lime. 2,000 years of curing, and it still holds breath. A group of builders lingers near a tavern doorway, sharing watered wine and jokes that have lasted since sunrise. They talk about bridge repairs up near the Tiber, about how the new cedar beams arrived from Syria in better shape than expected. The empire's arteries never stop beating. Timber fleets, stone convoys, animal caravans. Roads feeding roads. Everything material finds its way into something lasting. When they laugh, it's tired but true. Their shadows ripple on the tavern wall like ghosts of old victories. One of them scratches at a map drawn in chalk, lines showing a network of domes, arches, and cisterns stretching like nerves through the city's body. The joke fades as he studies it. If we build it right, he murmurs, maybe our grandchildren won't have to. Another raises his cup to that small dream. You leave them there and walk toward a hill where the wind loosens dust in thin spirals. Below you lies the world's greatest metropolis, breathing. Fires flicker in courtyards, roofs glow faintly orange, and even the far aqueducts catch the last reflections of night. You can almost hear the stone thinking, cooling, settling, sighing. A civilization held together by patience and craft. You sit for a while, the city hums below, and you realize you've wandered all day through layers of ingenuity so familiar that they vanish into habit. Walls that breathe, streets that drain, floors that shine, ovens that remember heat, roads that outlive memory. The Romans weren't chasing comfort. They were taming decay. Every invention you've seen today exists so tomorrow won't collapse. And as the final lamps dim, a late worker pauses carrying a clay jar of mortar balanced on his shoulder. Still warm from mixing, still alive with the smell of lime and ash. He's heading home, humming quietly. You watch until the figure disappears into darkness. Then the city exhales. Somewhere water drips from a conduit into a fountain bowl, marking the seconds. Until morning, you close your eyes. The sound is steady, eternal. Rome sleeps, but never fully. It only rests between the next repair and the next sunrise. The city settles into its deeper hush. You sit a moment longer, feeling the stone beneath you cool. The air carries the faint tang of iron from workshops long closed, mixed with olive smoke and the distant murmur of the Tiber. Rome never truly sleeps. It only breathes slower, waiting for the next shift of light. You rise, sandals scraping softly against gravel. Night walks are for reflection here, for seeing what daylight hides. The streets narrow, walls lean closer, and lanterns swing like fireflies from iron hooks. You pass a tavern where low laughter spills out, warm and muffled. Inside, men share stories not of battles, but of stubborn walls that refused to stand, of pipes that burst and flooded cellars. They toast to small victories, the kind that keep roofs overhead and feet dry. This is Rome beyond the spectacle, not the arena's roar, but the daily grind, the ingenuity woven into every wall, every pipe, every unseen channel that makes life bearable. You step past the tavern and into an alley where moonlight glints off a metal grate. Lift it, and you glimpse the hidden world below, channels of terracotta and leads snaking through earth, carrying away waste before it can poison the air. Plumbing, the quiet hero of survival. You follow the alley to a larger street where a public building looms. Not a temple or theater, but a bathhouse. Steam whispers from its doors even at this hour. The baths never fully close. They are the city's heartbeat, hubs of heat and cleanliness. But look closer, and you see the engineering that makes them possible. Hypercast systems, hollow floors heated by underground furnaces. Hot air rises through clay pillars like breath from the underworld, warming marble slabs without fire. You pause at the entrance, warmth brushing your skin. Inside, the air smells of mineral springs and cedar oil. A few late workers linger, scrubbing away the day's dust. They don't speak of gladiators or emperors. They talk of valve repairs and boiler pressure. Roman plumbing wasn't primitive. It was sophisticated, with siphons, pressure valves, and lead pipes stamped with the emperor's name. Lead, yes, but lined with clay to protect the water, and flushed daily to keep it pure. Imagine the scale. Aqueducts spanning hundreds of miles, dropping water by gravity alone, calculated to the millimeter. The engineer Frontinus wrote of it, 11 aqueducts feeding Rome, delivering more water per person than modern cities manage. You can hear it now, faint gurgle behind the walls, a symphony of survival. As you wander deeper into the bathhouse, the floor tiles glow faintly from residual heat. Beneath them, the hypercast hums. Fire fed with wood scraps burns in a distant furnace, smoke escaping through. High vents disguised as decorative grilles. No one freezes in Roman winter. No one boils in summer. The system balances itself. Like the city above, you sit on a bench, towel draped loose. The steam rises in lazy curls, carrying scents of herbs and sulfur. Nearby, a mosaic depicts nymphs pouring water, art celebrating function. Romans saw beauty in utility. The same pipes that fill these pools drain the latrines across the street, separated by careful gradients to prevent backflow. Genius born of necessity, they figured out sewage before they mastered indoor toilets. Outside again, the night air cools your skin. You follow a side path to a construction site, scaffolded and silent. Tomorrow, workers will resume layering walls with opus reticulatum, small pyramidal, stones set in diamond patterns, locked together like woven fingers, stronger than straight brick, more flexible than stone blocks. Vitruvius praised it for earthquakes. It bends without breaking. You touch the unfinished wall. Rough, cool, smelling of fresh mortar. This isn't grand architecture. It's everyday resilience. Warehouses, apartment blocks, market halls, all built to withstand fire, flood, siege. Even insulae, those towering tenements for the poor, had fire breaks and water channels in their designs. Not perfect, but thoughtful. A cat brushes past your leg, eyes glowing yellow. It vanishes into shadows, where rats would otherwise overrun the streets. Romans encouraged cats. For pest control, their temples even honoring feline deities. Practical religion. You turn toward the river district, where the real ingenuity thrives in the dark. Warehouses line the docks, their doors sealed with iron bars and wax seals. Inside, cranes of wood and rope lift amphorae-like toys, counterweights and pulleys multiplying human strength. Grain elevators powered by water wheels sort harvests before dawn. No waste, no spoilage. Every kernel accounted for. The Tiber laps gently, reflecting torchlight. Boats unload at night to avoid daytime crowds, their hulls tarred with pitch for waterproofing. Another hack, born from shipwrecks and trial. You imagine the crews below deck, patching leaks with oakum and hot iron, turning disaster into durability. Further along, a blacksmith's forge glows dim. He works late, hammering tools from recycled bronze. Roman metalwork wasn't flashy. It was eternal. Hinges that pivot smoothly after decades. Nails with square shanks to grip wood forever. He quenches a blade in oil, steam hissing like a sigh. The scent lingers. Metal, charcoal, eternity. You lean against a post, listening to the river's murmur. This is the hidden Rome, the grind of maintenance, the quiet revolution of pipes and pulleys, furnaces and forges. Gladiators entertain, but these invisible systems feed, clean, shelter, endure. An empire built not on swords, but on the slow genius of ordinary days. The moon climbs higher, silvering the rooftops. You feel the city pulse beneath. Water flowing, fires banked, walls standing sentinel. Tomorrow brings more work, more invention. But for now, it rests. You close your eyes, letting the rhythm lull you. The ingenuity whispers on. The blacksmith straightens, wipes sweat from his brow with a rag dark from use. His forge fire dims to embers, casting long shadows that dance across stacked ingots and half-formed tools. You watch as he banks the coals with ash, a simple trick to restart tomorrow without relighting. From scratch, even fire is domesticated here, tamed for efficiency. He nods to you, a stranger in the night, and disappears into his workshop. The door creaks shut on oiled hinges, another product of his craft. You move on, the glow fading behind you. The alley opens to a courtyard where women gather water from a communal basin, their voices soft, rhythmic. Jugs clink, water splashes in measured pours. This isn't drudgery, it's choreography, perfected over generations. One woman adjusts a lead pipe connected to the basin's spout. It's flexible, soldered at joints with tin to prevent leaks. Roman plumbers, plumbery, specialized in this. Their guilds marking pipes with stamps of quality. You trace the pipe's path with your eyes. It snakes underground to a main line, joining a network that spans the city like roots. Imagine the engineering, gradients calculated so precisely that water arrives crystal clear, under pressure enough to climb hills, but gentle enough not to burst seams. Siphons bridge valleys. Inverted U-shapes holding vacuum to pull liquid uphill. Frontinus documented it all, flow rates, repair logs, even corruption among overseers who skimmed the budget. Practicality extended to bureaucracy. You dip your hand into the basin. The water is cool, tasting faintly of mountain stone. No stagnation here. Overflow drains away through grates into sewers, wide enough for a man to walk upright. The Cloaca Maxima, Rome's ancient spine, carries filth to the Tiber, vaulted with stone, ventilated to prevent gas buildup. They built sewers before they built sewers for most of Europe. The women finish, balancing jugs on heads as they vanish into doorways. The courtyard falls silent, save for the trickle. You follow a side path to an insula, one of those 6-story hives housing thousands. From outside, it looks chaotic, but inside reveals order. Central courtyards with rainwater cisterns, wooden galleries lit by skylights. Ground floors hold shops, upper levels, families. Fire ladders and water buckets stationed at every turn. Lessons from past blazes. You climb a stairwell, steps worn smooth by countless feet. At the top landing, a family shares evening bread by lamplight. The father repairs a leaking roof tile, sealing it with hot pitch. His tools lie scattered: tongs, mallet, a small bellows for melting wax. Domestic engineering, passed father to son. Down below, the courtyard pump creaks. A hand-operated device drawing from a deep well lined with waterproof concrete. No one goes thirsty, even if aqueducts falter. Redundancy, the quietest form of genius. Night deepens. You descend and wander toward the forum's edge, where public works glow under torchlight. A maintenance crew inspects an aqueduct branch, torches held high. They test joints with mallets, listening for hollow echoes that signal weakness. Lead pipes flex under pressure. Terracotta ones stay rigid. Replacement sections wait stacked nearby, ready to splice in. One worker points to a valve, a bronze tap with a turning key, regulating flow like a heartbeat. Invented for theaters to control fountains during plays, now essential for homes. He turns it slowly, water hisses, then steadies. Satisfied, they move on, their footsteps fading into the vastness. You trail them at a distance, marveling at the scale. Aqueducts aren't just stone bridges. They're living arteries with settling tanks to filter silt, aerators to oxygenate water, distribution hubs splitting flows to neighborhoods. When a pipe burst in 37 AD under Caligula, engineers fixed it overnight. No panic, just procedure. The crew pauses at a manhole cover, lifting it with crowbars. Below, the channel gleams clean, arched ceiling echoing their voices. They drop in a torch. Light dances on flowing water far below. Clear to the next junction. One calls. They replace the cover, stamping mud over it. The city seals itself again. By now, stars prick the sky above. You find a bench near a small public latrine. Not glamorous, but revolutionary. A long stone bench with holes aligned over a running channel. Sponges on sticks for cleaning. Vinegar rinse nearby. Shared, efficient. Ventilated. No digging pits. Waste flows away continuously. Public health disguised as convenience. Nearby, a bath attendant sweeps the changing room. Steam still lingering. He checks the underfloor channels, clearing ash buildup. Hypercosts demand care. Too much fuel scorches tiles, too little chills bones. He adds olive pits to the furnace, cheap. Slow-burning fuel from kitchen waste. You sit, inhaling the fading warmth. Roman baths were social hubs, but also engineering marvels. Stratified pools from scalding coldarium to cool frigidarium. Gradients feeding fresh water. Drains whisking away used. Walls double-layered for insulation. Roofs with adjustable louvers for steam control. Pliny the Elder marveled at baths heated enough for summer in winter snow. The attendant nods good night, extinguishing lamps one by one. Darkness folds in, broken only by distant fires. You rise, body heavy with the day's wandering. The city's ingenuity surrounds you. Pipes whispering, stones holding firm. Fires banked against tomorrow. This is Rome's true strength, not the sword, but the slow, unseen work that makes every day possible. Plumbing that cleans, construction that endures. Systems that balance human mess with quiet order. You feel it in the air, taste it in the water, walk it in the streets. As midnight nears, a final patrol passes, engineers with measuring rods, checking levels for new builds. Their lanterns bob like will-o'-the-wisps. The Empire innovates even in sleep. You find your way. Back, footsteps soft on eternal roads. The night cradles you, full of hidden wonders. Tomorrow, the grind resumes. But now you see it for what it is. Survival, elegantly engineered. The patrol's lanterns fade into the distance, leaving you with the subtle gurgle of night waterworks. You lean against a column, its fluted surface cool and smooth under your palms. Marble, yes, but chosen for durability, quarried from Carrara, transported by sea and river on barges with roller logs beneath. Even columns are logistics triumphs. A soft breeze carries the scent of wet earth from a nearby garden. Romans terraced hillsides with retaining walls of concrete-faced stone, preventing landslides that could bury neighborhoods. You follow the path uphill, steps cut into bedrock, handrails of iron forged to grip damp hands. Small touches, but they turn treacherous slopes into safe passages. At the top, a villa overlooks the city, not elite luxury, but a merchant's home with practical additions. Rainwater gutters channeling to underground tanks. A private hypercost stub warming the floor. The owner's wife tends herbs by moonlight, crushing leaves between fingers. The aroma rises, rosemary, thyme, medicinal sharp. Even gardens engineer health. You descend again, passing a fullery, a laundry where workers once trod cloth in vats of urine and soapwort. Tonight it's quiet, but you smell the faint ammonia. Fullers used aqueduct water under pressure to rinse fabrics, wooden presses to wring them dry. Assembly line cleaning before the term existed. The street opens to a market square, stalls shuttered but traces lingering, fish scales glinting on cobblestones. Olive pits swept into corners. Vendors tomorrow will use wheeled carts with adjustable shelves, designs tested over decades for balance and speed. Commerce as craft. A lone scribe sits under a portico, copying contracts by lamplight. His tools gleam, reed pens, ink of oak galls and iron sulfate, wax tablets for drafts. Roman bureaucracy kept the ingenuity flowing, records of pipe repairs, road tolls, building permits, paperwork as infrastructure. You pause to watch. His stylus scratches softly, erasable wax scratched clean for reuse. Sustainability in every stroke. Nearby, a timekeeping clepsydra drips, water clock marking hours for night shifts. Steady plink-plink, like a lullaby. Further on, a miller's donkey turns a stone wheel in slow circles, grinding leftover grain for animal feed. Watermills dotted the empire, their gears cut from hardwood, axles lubricated with animal fat. No muscle wasted, even donkeys powered progress. The night air thickens with dew. You reach a bridge over a branch canal, its arches echoing footsteps. Below, barges tie up, hulls patched with lead sheeting, waterproofing borrowed from plumbing. Crews sleep aboard, dreaming of routes from Egypt's granaries to Gaul's vineyards. On the far bank, a potter's kiln cools, smoke wisping from vents. Kilns fired with layered fuels, wood base, then straw or even heat. producing tiles impervious to frost. You touch a worn stack, they smell of baked clay, ready for tomorrow's roofs. A guard makes rounds, spear tapping rhythmically. His sandals have hobnails for grip on whetstone. Footwear engineering. Even patrols survive better. You circle back toward the baths, steam now faint ghosts. An engineer friend lingers, sketching valve improvements on slate. Pressure builds if unchecked. He mutters. His design, a spring-loaded relief valve, whistling warning before burst. Tested in military camps, now urban standard. He shares watered wine from a clay flask, cool from terracotta pores. We don't fight nature, he says. We channel it. Conversation drifts to failures, collapsed tunnels, poisoned wells, lessons etched into code. Vitruvius warned of porous stone near coasts. They switched to impermeable mixes. Dawn hints purple on the horizon. Workers stir. Bakers stoking ovens. Masons mixing lime. The grind awakens, ingenuity unbroken. You slip away as light strengthens. Body weary, mind full. Rome's hidden world, pipes, presses, pulleys, presses, pulses on. Not glory, but the patient craft of staying alive. Dawn's first blush touches the rooftops, turning tiles to rose and gold. You linger in the square, watching shadows retreat. A carpenter unlocks his shop, the scent of fresh sawn cedar spilling out like morning breath. His workbench holds clumps of iron, vises with wooden jaws to spare delicate work, planes with adjustable irons, saws with teeth filed for different woods, specialization in every tool. He greets a neighbor, handing over a repaired door frame. Hinges swing silent, mortised perfectly. Roman joinery used pegs and glue from animal hooves, bonds stronger than nails alone. Furniture survives generations, so do homes. Across the way, a glassblower readies his furnace. Roman glass, soda lime from Syrian sand, blown into bottles, lamps, windows. You watch him gather molten gather on a pipe, blow steady breath. The orb swells, then shapes under shears and molds. Thin panes for wealthy homes, colored for lamps. Fragile yet essential, carrying light and oil. The blower quenches a piece in water, steam hissing sharp. He stacks them carefully, tomorrow's trade. Glass pipes even line some aqueducts, transparent enough to check flow. Bakers shout greetings, ovens roaring to life. Their domed hearths draw air through flues, heat radiating evenly. Dough kneaded with volcanic pumice for texture, loaves stamped for freshness checks. Bread as currency, engineered for the masses. You move through awakening streets, passing a smithy where bellows wheeze like tired lungs. The smith forges plowshares, their curved blades designed to turn soil without clogging. Agricultural tools as war weapons cousins, same forges, different purpose. A potter joins the chorus, wheels spinning Don chorus. His apprentice loads the kiln with amphorae, tall jars for oil, wine, grain, sealed with cork and plaster, stacked in ships for global trade. Standardized sizes for easy stacking, necks narrow to prevent sloshing. Water vendors push barrows, wooden wheels creaking on stone. Their tanks slosh with aqueduct fresh supply, sold by measure. Hygiene in commerce, no standing water to breed fever. The forum stirs. Merchants erect awnings on poles with guy ropes, tensioned for wind. Cloth dyed with madder and woad, waterproofed with beeswax, temporary structures, permanent cleverness. An engineer oversees scaffold erection for a new portico. Bamboo-like poles lashed with hemp, platforms planked tight, safety nets below, lessons from falls. Workers climb monkey-like, balancing hods of mortar. You watch bricks laid in headers and stretchers, patterns interlocking like puzzle pieces. Opus lateritium, fired brick stronger than sun-dried, faced with stucco for weatherproofing. Flexible against quakes, insulating against cold. Mid-morning heat builds. You seek shade under a portico, where mosaicists work. Tesserae of stone and glass form patterns, not random, but with underfloor heating channels woven in. Art and function fused. Lunchtime nears. Food stalls sizzle. Cooks use portable braziers with adjustable grates, fueled by charcoal briquettes pressed from dust. Efficient burning, minimal ash. Afternoon brings the bathhouse rush. Attendants check boilers, stoke furnaces with measured loads. Steam pressure gauges, simple floats in tubes, warn of excess. Drains cleared with hooked rods, preventing clogs. You enter the changing room, lockers of wood slotted for security. Inside, pools shimmer. Swimmers test temperatures with toes, gradients perfect. Walls echo laughter, splashes rhythmic. Engineers nearby repair a leak. Pipe joint resoldered with blowpipe flame. Lead's malleability saves the day again. Evening falls once more. You've circled the hidden ingenuity. Daily repairs, tools refined, systems self-sustaining. Gladiators fade, the grind endures. The cycle whispers on, pipes flowing, wheels turning, fires controlled. Rome lives by wit, not might. As the evening settles in with its cozy, velvety touch, you find yourself back by the Tiberias edge, where the creativity of the day pools just like the river itself, slow, deep, and relentless. Lanterns are dancing on poles along the docks, their flames flickering steadily in glass chimneys that keep the wind at bay. It's a beautiful sight, isn't it? Dock workers are busy lashing crates with ropes twisted from hemp, tying knots so secure that they could weather a storm without a hitch. Nearby, rope walks stretch fibers under tension, producing lines that are measured in ship lengths. It's a bit of a spectacle to watch. A crane operator is testing his rig, with a treadwheel powered by two men walking inside, almost like hamsters in a wheel. The gears are multiplying torque, lifting tons of cargo with just human effort. Can you believe that? Counterweights made of stone slabs balance the load, creaking softly as they rise. Cargo swings gently over the whole Zamphary nestled in straw. Sacks of grain sealed tight against dampness. The operator calls out adjustments, his voice calm over the soothing lap of the water. Roman cranes, you know, used screw jacks for fine control, with bronze nuts turning on threaded rods. It is amazing how precision was born from the needs of siege engines and repurposed for peaceful purposes. Just a few steps away, coopers are shaping barrels from oak staves, their movements fluid and practiced. They hammer hoops tight with mallets, crafting barrels that are curved for strength, with bung holes plugged using tapered pegs. This method is way better than clay for holding liquids lighter and unbreakable. Wine merchants absolutely swear by these barrels for long hauls. As night deepens, Watchmen light signal fires on towers, sending up smoke signals for distant patrols. They layer pyres with damp herbs to create colored plumes communication without a single word spoken. It's fascinating how they've mastered the art of silent messaging. Crossing over to a warehouse district, the doors groan open on counterweighted pulleys, revealing a treasure trove inside. Shelves reach high, and ladders on rails make accessing the goods a breeze. Inventory is tagged with wax labels, and everything is tallied on abacuses made of bronze beads. The rhythmic clicking of the bookkeepers. Abacuses sounds like rain falling softly, a soothing backdrop to the hustle and bustle. Just then, a potter unloads his kiln's bounty, revealing pipes glazed inside for smooth flow, resistant to roots and scale. He tests one with water. It rings clear without a single crack. You can almost feel the pride radiating from him as he showcases his work. Across the way, a tanner stretches hides on frames, treating them with oak bark tannins. His tools for scraping, stretching, and cutting are all edged keenly, ready for action. Leather pipes are crafted for flexible plumbing, and belts for machinery are being made right there. The air thickens with the sharp scent of tannins, mingling with the rich oil from lamp shops. Lamps are trimmed, wicks twisted from flax, and reservoirs filled to the brim. The trimming hooks are curved perfectly, preventing any soot from accumulating. It's all so meticulously crafted, don't you think? As midnight approaches, the markets hum with life. For the night workers, stalls offer hot porridge from insulated pots, kept warm by hot stones. Nestled inside, can you imagine the warmth? Those pots are double-walled, creating a vacuum-like insulation that keeps everything cozy. You can't resist sampling a bowl, steam rising fragrant and inviting. The potter even sells sealing clay for jars self-hardening when heated and airtight for months. It's a game changer for preserving food. Engineers gather in a tavern annex, maps spread out under the warm glow of lamps. They're deep in discussion about a new siphon bridge, calculating heights, vacuum strength, and pipe diameters. Clay models are being tested for flow, and any leaks are sealed with resin. One engineer sketches a piston pump for low-lying wells foot-powered, with leather valves sealing tight. This will be perfect for farms when aqueducts strain, he says with a spark of excitement. It's incredible how innovation flows from the city out to the countryside. As you step outside, the stars wheel slowly overhead, and you can feel the city's pulse. Hammers may be stilled, but the waters rush unseen, fires banked, and walls standing vigilant. This slice of Roman life reveals a deeper truth. Beyond the gladiatorial flash lies a web of quiet brilliance. Plumbing networks thread through the earth like veins. Construction marries stone to math, and tools are honed by use. It's a daily grind that feels like a daily miracle. You've walked its hidden paths, felt its rhythms. This isn't just the empire of legend. It's the one that truly endured through craft, care, and calm persistence. Isn't it amazing to think about all the little things that come together to create something so magnificent? The night reaches its deepest quiet, broken only by the Tibia's endless murmur and the faint rush of channels far below. You stand still, letting the cool air settle on your skin like a bomb. Rome exhales, waste carried away, waters purified, streets spared the rot that fells lesser cities. Dawn will bring crowds to the baths, but first comes the hidden ritual, sanitation. The city's greatest secret, whispered in stone and pipe. Not glory or gold, but cleanliness, the revolution that let millions thrive where others sickened. You turn toward a public latrine, near the forum's edge, its entrance arched low, inviting yet unassuming. Torchlight flickers inside, revealing rows of stone benches with carved openings. No stench assaults you. Instead, a steady rush of water beneath, channeled from aqueducts to flush continuously. Sit if you wish. The seats are contoured for comfort, spaced for conversation. Sponges tethered on ropes dip into vinegar vats nearby. Natural disinfectant. No digging privies. No cesspits to overflow in rain. Waste flows direct to sewers. Gravity's patient servant. The design is genius. Channels sloped 1%. Just enough fall to move solids without erosion. Side inlets add fresh water hourly. Vitruvius described it. Ventilation shafts preventing miasma. Stone impervious to corrosion. You rise, following the flow's echo to a grate. Lift it, peer down, a vaulted tunnel wide as your shoulders, brick-lined smooth. The Cloaca Maxima, born under the kings, now Empire's spine, 20 meters high in places, strong enough for boat traffic during floods. Archaeology reveals its secrets, sediment layers mocking centuries, fish bones swept from kitchens, coins dropped by accident. But no plague, because Romans understood flow. They added settling basins to trap debris, scrapers on poles to clear blockages. Outside, street drains swallow runoff for rain, bath overflow, market slop. Grates of iron prevent clogs, channels linking house to house. No flooding streets, no breeding mosquitoes. Morning lightens the sky as you walk to the baths, heart of sanitation. Crowds gather already, but order reigns. First, the apoditarium, changing room with lockers and attendants checking for lice. Then the tepidarium, warm mist loosening skin. Steam rises thick, scented with bay leaves. You enter the caldarium, heat wrapping like a blanket. Walls sweat condensation, but drains whisk it away instantly. Floors sloped to channels, hypercost ash vented high. Baths as health hubs. Physicians prescribe soaks for rheumatism, sweat for detox. Water temperatures calibrated. Hot for pores, tepid for muscles, cold for vigor. Separate drains per pool prevent cross-contamination. Attendants scrub with strigils, curved bronze scrapers, removing oil and dead skin into collection troughs, later used as fertilizer. Nothing wasted. The frigidarium chills you sudden, plunging pool bubbling fresh from aqueducts. Shock closes pores, invigorates blood. Around you, chatter flows, business, poetry, gossip, social glue in sanitized splendor. Emerging, you towel dry on marble benches, air-scented clean. Public baths numbered hundreds in Rome, free or cheap, visited daily. Not luxury, public health policy. You follow bath wastewater to street conduits, joining latrine flows. No mixing with drinking lines, strict separation, pipes color-coded by function. By noon, forum fountains sparkle. You drink deep, water arcing from lion-mouth spouts, filtered through sand beds upstream. Aqueducts drop 200 meters over miles, self-cleaning by velocity. Farmers irrigate fields with branch lines, gates controlling flood. Crop yields double. No famine from drought. Afternoon brings street cleaners, slaves with brooms and carts, dumping into main sewers. Night soil collectors empty private pots, hauling to treatment pits outside walls. Composted with lime, sold as manure. Roman law mandated it. Salubritas, health above all. Emperors funded aqueducts, neglect meant fines. Pliny noted lower disease rates than Greek cities. You visit a suburban villa, its cesspit aerated by perforated pipes, waste leaching slow into fields. No groundwater poison, natural filtration. Evening returns to public baths. Families soak together, children splashing supervised. Hygiene taught young. Wash before eat. Bathe after work. Night falls. Cleaners scour tiles with pumice. Vinegar mops gleaming surfaces. Fires banked. Waters checked. Lying abed, you hear the city's pulse. Flush of channels. Drip of fountains. Sanitation, Rome's silent guardian. Revolutionary not in flash, but in sustaining life clean, steady, unseen. The villa-esque quiet seeps into twilight as you trace a narrow path back to the city core. Feet crunching on gravel paths edged with low curbs. Barriers against stray waste. Channeling everything to drains. Evening shadows lengthen, but the air stays fresh. Laced with citrus from public latrines where attendants rinse sponges in lime water, neutralizing odors before night. You pause at a multi-story insula, its base surrounded by open gutters wide enough for brooms. Residents empty chamber pots through chutes straight to street channels, grates catching debris. No overflow in storms. Excess diverts to the Tiber via overflow weirs. Up the stairs. Families gather for evening meal. Before eating, hands washed at a basin fed by roof runoff. Filtered through charcoal layers. Simple purifier invented by field surgeons. Soap from ash and fat lather's mild, antibacterial. Dinner scents waft. Garum fish sauce from fermented vats outside city walls, where sanitation laws ban offal processing. Waste from sauce-making composted far off. Flies discouraged by smoke pits. Post-meal, children play near a courtyard fountain. Splashing supervised. Mothers teach. Water from high gives life. Low brings fever. Aqueduct height ensured purity. Surface runoff shunned. Night deepens. You wander to the campus Martius, baths glowing like beacons. The grand thermi of Agrippa hum vast. Pools for thousands. Libraries adjacent for mind-body health. Steam vents high, preventing humidity buildup. Inside, mosaics depict sea gods flushing channels. Propaganda for hygiene. Drains massive, screened against lost jewelry. Boilers monitored by slave engineers. Fuel logs strict to avoid overheating. You soak in a side pool. Water silky from settling tanks removing silt. Adjacent frigidarium plunge shocks invigorating. Closing pores against city dust. Emerging. Strigil scrape echoes satisfying. Oil rubbed in olive mixed with herbs, antiseptic. Attendants collect scrapings in jars. Sold to perfumers or farms. Outside, night soil carts rumble slow, hooded to contain smell. Haulers wear masks of vinegar-soaked cloth. Loads dumped at edge of town fields, plowed under with quicklime. Bacteria killer known since Etruscan times. Back in streets, lamplighters trim wicks, emptying soot traps. Clean light means fewer shadows for vermin. A physician's clinic glows nearby. He consults on fevers, prescribing bath routines, and herbal rinses. Roman medicine tied to sanitation, Galen noted baths cut plagues spread. You overhear patients. The baths saved my lungs last winter. Public health working. Midnight brings cloacal inspectors, torches probing tunnels. Poles clearing silt, reports filed dawnward. Channel 7 clear, valve 12 tight. Lying in your chamber, walls cool from day's ventilation. You hear distant flush, eternal vigilance, sanitation. Revolutionized Rome, latrines flushing communal ills, aqueducts quenching thirst pure, baths sterilizing society. No medieval plagues here. Health as civic duty. Dawn stirs again. Cleaners sweeping. Fountains refilling. The cycle renews. Invisible shield enduring. The library's scroll unfurls beneath your fingers. The parchment feeling smooth like a river stone. The words of Frontenac shimmer in the warm lamplight, talking about aqueducts and how they yield water measured in quinaria, basically pipe diameters that ensure everyone gets a fair share. It's fascinating how suburban branches fork out just right, serving villas with private latrines that flush into branch sewers. The next dawn, you set out to explore the outskirts, your cart rumbling alongside you. It's pretty eye-opening to see how suburban systems mirror the city. Imagine roadside urinals draining into ditches lined with clay, and houses equipped with privies that have septic tanks aerated by vent pipes. The elites, though, enjoy a bit more luxury with underfloor channels leading to fields. Using their waste to fertilize olives, you catch a villa steward in action here demonstrating how to empty a chamber pot into a chute. And you can't help but wince as it splashes into a lime pit. But here's the kicker. Bacteria die off quickly, and the effluent trickles through gravel beds, ensuring there's no cholera lurking around. Laws are the backbone of this system, like the Lex Iulia, which mandated drains on estates and imposed fines for clogs. Emperors such as Trajan even funded rural aqueducts, boosting provinces and ensuring everyone has access to clean water. History has its lessons too. Nero's fire revealed poor drainage in slums, leading to a rebuild with wider channels. And remember the ash from Vesuvius in 80 AD. It clogged Pompeii's sewers, but they dug them out post-eruption and improved the designs. Success stories abound. The baths at Ostia Port catered to 50,000 people, with sewers efficiently handling trade waste. No epidemics here. Even with all those crowds, you stumble upon a suburban bath, modest but communal, with steam wafting herbal scents and tiered pools. Drains lead to irrigation, turning grey water into lush gardens. Farm collectives share standpipes, and their crops thrive without soil salinization. Back in the city, an Aedile inspects the fountains. He dips a cup, takes a sip, and nods. If the source is cloudy, the aqueduct is diverted until it's cleaned. Market failures are quickly averted when a fishmonger's stall floods. The drain gets cleared instantly, stopping any spread of mess. As night falls, debaters in the forum praise baths as the people's physician. Backed by data showing infant mortality rates, half those of the Greeks. Night vigils patrol the suburbs, torches probing villa drains, calling out clear. As they move on, lying under the stars, You can almost hear the channels singing below. It's a testament to resilience. Failures forged strength, laws enforced purity, and those suburban webs extended a revolution. Sanitation, Rhone's quiet triumph, clean water in, filth out, and health woven into the fabric of daily life. You can't help but notice the little details. Comfy armrests for those long sits and footrests that keep you above any splashes. The walls are painted with mild scenes, almost like a distraction from the business at hand. Those ventilation flues, genius. They pull the air up and keep things fresh, preventing any nasty stagnation. As you exit, you wander down a side channel to a settling tank, hidden from view. It's a clever system. Solids drop out while the liquids flow on. That sludge, it's periodically shuffled out to farms, and trust me, it's like nutrient gold for the crops. The streets shine after the rain, with sweepers working diligently, their brooms made of bundled twigs pushing debris toward the grates. Carts roll by to collect the compost, sorting everything out. Organics go to manure, and trash heads to the kilns. It's all so efficient. Mid-morning finds you at a bath complex during peak hour. The hum of the crowd is almost musical as people strip down, oil up, and scrape away the grime in a rhythm that feels almost ritualistic. The tepidarium mist wraps around you like a warm hug, while drains gurgle constantly. No slippery floors here. Those textured tiles grip your wet feet like a pro. There's a separate pool for kids, shallower and supervised by a lifeguard. Mothers are there, teaching their little ones the art of rinsing off properly. It's such a sweet scene. Attendants are busy checking the hypercost flues, with ash carts rumbling out. Clean combustion means clean air, so no carbon is clogging anyone's lungs. When it's time for lunch, you always wash your hands first, a must. Water is tested daily by ediles for taste and clarity. If it's cloudy, they shut it off until it's fixed. Afternoon markets are a sight to behold, with fish stalls on raised platforms draining into channels to avoid those gross slime pools. Vendors are hosing down their areas with jugs from standpipes, keeping everything spick and span. Butcher blocks, scrubbed with salt, and knives flamed to perfection. Awful heads straight to carts. No chance for street rot here. You take a little tour of a suburban aqueduct worksite, where masons are busy repairing arcades, testing mortar for strength. Channels are scoured with chained scrapers, pulled by mules, and sediment is sent off to the fields. Farmers downstream are irrigating with precision, using sluice gates to meter the flow. No waterlogging here. They rotate crops with legumes to keep the soil healthy. Evening baths roll around again. Now it's family hour. Elders soak in warm pools, their circulation getting a boost. Physicians are on hand, recommending soaks for ailments like gout. As night falls, the vigils, the fire and watch brigade double as sanitation patrols. They're probing drains, clearing blockages, and keeping an eye out for fevers. One vigilist shares an epic tale. Did I tell you about the sewer dive last moon? We saved the suburb from a flood. Unsung heroes, for sure. You wrap up your day at a Grand Fermi library, reading scrolls by lamplight. There's so much to learn about salubritis, aqueduct assays, bath hygiene, and sewer gradients. Finally, sleep claims you to the soothing sound of flushing channels. It is like Rome's own lullaby of purity. This incredible sanitation web, latrines, drains, baths, and laws slashed disease rates and boosted the population. It's revolutionary, right? Health as engineering, not just some magical thinking. The library's scroll unfurls beneath your fingers, the parchment feeling smooth like a river stone. The words of Frontenac shimmer in the warm lamplight, talking about aqueducts and how they yield water measured in quinaria basically. Pipe diameters that ensure everyone gets a fair share. It's fascinating how suburban branches fork out just right, serving villas with private latrines that flush into branch sewers. The next dawn, you set out to explore the outskirts, your cart rumbling alongside you. It's pretty eye-opening to see how suburban systems mirror the city. Imagine roadside urinals draining into ditches lined with clay, and houses equipped with privies that have septic tanks aerated by vent pipes. The elites, though, enjoy a bit more luxury with underfloor channels leading to fields, using their waste to fertilize olives. You catch a villa steward in action here demonstrating how to empty a chamber pot into a chute. And you can't help but wince as it splashes into a lime pit. But here's the kicker. Bacteria die off quickly, and the effluent trickles through gravel beds, ensuring there's no cholera lurking around. Laws are the backbone of this system, like the Lex Aelia, which mandated drains on estates and imposed fines for clogs. Emperors such as Trajan even funded rural aqueducts, boosting provinces and ensuring everyone has access to clean water. History has its lessons too. Nero's fire revealed poor drainage in slums, leading to a rebuild with wider channels. And remember the ash from Vesuvius in 80 AD. It clogged Pompeii's sewers, but they dug them out post-eruption and improved the designs. Success stories abound. The baths at Ostia Port catered to 50,000 people, with sewers efficiently handling trade waste. No epidemics here. Even with all those crowds, you stumble upon a suburban bath, modest but communal, with steam wafting herbal scents and tiered pools. Drains lead to irrigation, turning grey water into lush gardens. Farm collectives share standpipes, and their crops thrive without soil salinization. Back in the city, an Aedile inspects the fountains. He dips a cup, takes a sip, and nods. If the source is cloudy, the aqueduct is diverted until it's cleaned. Market failures are quickly averted when a fishmonger's stall floods. The drain gets cleared instantly, stopping any spread of mess. As night falls, debaters in the forum praise baths as the people's physician, backed by data showing infant mortality rates half those of the Greeks. Night vigils patrol the suburbs, torches probing villa drains, calling out clear. As they move on, lying under the stars, you can almost hear the channels singing below. It's a testament to resilience. Failures forged strength, laws enforced purity, and those suburban webs extended a revolution. Sanitation, Rome's quiet triumph, clean water in, filth out, and health woven into the fabric of daily life. Suburban quiet hangs in the air as dawn paints the villa roofs with a golden glow. But beneath that calm, hunger stirs the land. You wake up to the cheerful call of roosters, the air thick with the scent of dew and freshly turned earth. Back in the day, sanitation kept Rome clean. But now it's all about ingenuity feeding the city from soil to table, with fields whispering promises of sustenance. As you step into the misty orchards, the vines are heavy with dew, glistening like jewels. Farmers are already up and about, their hoes catching the early light. There's no wild scramble here. Everything is about systems and respect for the land. Crop rotation is sacred. Legumes fix nitrogen, fallow fields rejuvenate the soil, and grains follow in a perfect cycle. It's like Collier-Miller's wisdom comes to life. The four-field cycle, where manure from city sewers is plowed deep into the earth, doubling yields and ensuring the land stays strong. You join a team pruning the vines on trellises, those wooden frames lifting grapes off the damp ground, allowing the air to flow freely. No rot here, the sun ripens everything beautifully. Irrigation is subtle yet effective. Aqueduct branches fill canals, with sluices metering water to the furrows. Clay pipes underground prevent evaporation, making sure every drop counts. It's incredible to see fields green where deserts once thirsted. By mid-morning, the olive groves hum with life. Those ancient, gnarled trees are wise, and harvesters are busy beating the branches with rods, nets ready to catch the falling fruit. Nearby, presses made of stone crush the pits into paste, while screws extract pure oil. Storage happens in amphories sealed with pitch, kept cool in cellars. Lunch rolls around, and it's a feast under the shade. Bread made from rotating wheat, cheese crafted from pasture-fed milk. The sheep graze on fallow land, their dung enriching the soil for the next crop. In the afternoon, it's all about the threshing floors. Oxen circle, flails moving rhythmically. Wind-powered winnowing fans send light grains flying like snowflakes. Silos rise tall, stone and lime-plastered, airtight to keep the grains safe for years. No pesky weevils here. As dusk approaches, you trek to the forum, carts groaning under the weight of the bounty. The roads are perfect for wagons, with milestones guiding the way. The forum markets burst with color, grain sacks stamped with their origins, oil flasks labeled and ready for sale. Vendors weigh everything fairly on their balances, seals marking official quality. Bakers knead dough with pumice, their ovens blazing hot from volcanic rock. Bread is rationed by Anona State's clever way of ensuring the poor are fed. Preservation is an art here, salting fish in barrels, smoking hams over juniper, drying figs on racks. Garum ferments for months, delivering that rich umami flavor that lingers. The warehouses are vast, with grain elevators lifting supplies to lofty heights. Climate control is no joke. Vents adjust with the seasons, and floors are raised to keep things damp-proof. As night falls, bakers continue their work, dough rising slowly. This empire isn't fed by magic. It's all about method rotation, irrigation, and smart storage sealing time. You take a moment to taste a warm loaf, the crust crackling under your fingers. From the fields to the forum, it's all about ingenuity, and it's pretty amazing to see it all come together. A steward guides you to the cloaker branch, where terracotta pipes are buried just below the surface, sloping down to a tributary of the Tiber. These septic chambers are pretty clever, with baffles that slow down solids, letting bacteria do their thing and break down the organics. And guess what? The overflow actually irrigates the vines, making those grapes even sweeter thanks to all those nutrients. There are strict laws in place too. Thanks to an Augustan edict, every estate's drains must connect to public mains, with yearly inspections to keep things in check. If you don't comply, you're looking at a fine of grain tithe, but it works. The fields in Latium are fertile, and marsh fevers are a thing of the past. Now, check this out. Rural aqueducts fork out further, with the ponds Agrippae feeding the hill towns and carefully measured drops for the villages. Public fountains are everywhere, with basins for animals and troughs that overflow to the fields. No herds are left thirsty, and crops are thriving. You also visit a frontier outpost where sanitation is done a bit differently. They have latrine trenches lined with lime that get rotated monthly, and there's a portable bath tent with a hypercost pit. The Legion's hygiene practices cut disease rates in half, and civilian towns are quick to follow suit. In stark contrast, neighboring tribes are struggling, polluting streams and suffering from dysentery. Meanwhile, Romans are thriving with daily baths and pure water. The digs at Pompeii show this to Herculaneum's drains are flawless, and the baths remain pristine beneath the ash. Vesuvius spared their sanitation. It even outlasted the gods. This legacy whispers through time. Modern sewers echo the cloaca, and those baths inspire our spas today. But what's Rome's real secret? It's the mandate that health is a public good. As evening rolls in, families gather for a relaxing bath, soaking in the myrtle-scented steam. Kids learn to rinse with sponges, and the drains gurgle contentedly. Night falls, and the channels hum with life. Any failures, like the Claudius aqueduct breach, get fixed up fast. Redundancies keep everything running smoothly. You take a moment to rest. With the city distant, it's amazing how sanitation connects urban life to the rural landscape, with pipes uniting the entire empire in a shared sense of purity. Suburban quiet hangs in the air as dawn paints the villa roofs with a golden glow. But beneath that calm, hunger stirs the land. You wake up to the cheerful call of roosters, the air thick with the scent of dew and freshly turned earth. Back in the day, sanitation kept Rome clean. But now it's all about ingenuity feeding the city from soil to table, with fields whispering promises of sustenance. As you step into the misty orchards, the vines are heavy with dew, glistening like jewels. Farmers are already up and about, their hoes catching the early light. There's no wild scramble here. Everything is about systems and respect for the land. Crop rotation is sacred. Legumes fix nitrogen. Fallow fields rejuvenate the soil, and grains follow in a perfect cycle. It's like Columella's wisdom comes to life. The four-field cycle, where manure from city sewers is plowed deep into the earth, doubling yields and ensuring the land stays strong. You join a team pruning the vines on trellises, those wooden frames lifting grapes off the damp ground, allowing the air to flow freely. No rot here. The sun ripens everything beautifully. Irrigation is subtle yet effective. Aqueduct branches fill canals, with sluices metering water to the furrows. Clay pipes underground prevent evaporation, making sure every drop counts. It's incredible to see fields green where deserts once thirsted. By mid-morning, the olive groves hum with life. Those ancient, gnarled trees are wise, and harvesters are busy beating the branches with rods, nets ready to catch the falling fruit. Nearby, presses made of stone crush the pits into paste, while screws extract pure oil. Storage happens in amphories sealed with pitch, kept cool in cellars. Lunch rolls around, and it's a feast under the shade. Bread made from rotating wheat, cheese crafted from pasture-fed milk. The sheep graze on fallow land, their dung enriching the soil for the next crop. In the afternoon, it's all about the threshing floors. Oxen circle, flails moving rhythmically. Wind-powered winnowing fans send light grains flying like snowflakes. Silos rise tall, stone and lime-plastered, airtight to keep the grains safe, for there's no pesky weevils here. As dusk approaches, you trek to the forum, carts groaning under the weight of the bounty. The roads are perfect for wagons, with milestones guiding the way. The forum markets burst with color, grain sacks stamped with their origins, oil flasks labeled and ready for sale. Vendors weigh everything fairly on their balances, seals marking official quality. Bakers knead dough with pumice, their ovens blazing hot from volcanic rock. Bread is rationed by a known of the state's clever way of ensuring the poor are fed. Preservation is an art here, salting fish in barrels, smoking hams over juniper, drying figs on racks. Garum ferments for months, delivering that rich umami flavor that lingers. The warehouses are vast, with grain elevators lifting supplies to lofty heights. Climate control is no joke. Vents adjust with the seasons, and floors are raised to keep things damp-proof. As night falls, bakers continue their work, dough rising slowly. This empire isn't fed by magic. It's all about method rotation, irrigation, and smart storage sealing time. You take a moment to taste a warm loaf, the crust crackling under your fingers. From the fields to the forum, it's all about ingenuity, and it's pretty amazing to see it all come together. Olive oil drips golden from the press as you watch the farm day unfold deeper, sun climbing slow. Press operators turn screws deliberate, Archimedean design multiplying force, yielding purest grade first, cloudy lees to soap, clear to lamps, food, medicine, nearby. Vegetable plots terraced on slopes, retaining walls of dry stone trapping soil, companion planting, beans with cereals, herbs repelling pests, no chemicals, nature partnered. Water wheels turn lazy on stream, buckets lifting to overhead tanks. Gravity feeds rows precise, no flood, no thirst. Drip systems from pierced pots proceed modern. Herds rotate pastures fenced hurdles. Milkmaids straining into amphory-cooled wet cloths, cheese-pressed molds. Aged caves constant damp. Threshing evolves. Donkeys on sledges spiked, chaff flying golden dusk. Sieves shake rhythmic, grain purist. Silos inspected. Augers probe depths for heat. Fumigated sulfur smoke. Pliny warned mold, they heeded. You ride cart to market. Wheels rutted familiar. Way stations stock fodder. Water, horse ingenuity. Forum rives noon bustle. Porters unload. Shoulders padded. Scales clinking bronze. Overseers sample grain. Bite test for moisture. Stalls tiered. Elite spices atop. Staples below. Preservation shows. Dried lentils in sacks lie washed. Apples waxed storage. Millers grind on querns. Cone-shaped, finer than hand. Watermills multiple wheels. Gears wooden silent. Bakers layer loaves ovens. Steam vents precise. spelt, emmer, barley, varieties rotated fields. Unknown clerks tally distributions, chits clay durable, poor Q orderly, sacks full weekly. Evening warehouses, cranes hoist to bins ventilated, rodents trapped baited jars. Night baking, fires glow, dough fermented wild yeast, sourdough eternal. Farm ingenuity, rotation renewing, irrigation taming, storage defying decay, feeds forum teeming. Dust paints forum stalls amber as you delve into wine vintage, amphories stacked like sentinels. Vintners from Campania rive, jars stamped estate, year, grapes pressed feet clean, skins fermenting vats buried cool earth, temperature steady, yeast wild. Racking clear, wine off lees, sulfured light preserve. Dolia massive jars sealed lids clay. Buried stop evaporation. Pliny catalogues varieties. Sweet Alban, tart Falernian aged decades. Failures haunt memory. 59 BC mildew ravaged Gaul vines. Romans grafted resistant stocks. Cato advised pruning severe, prevent overcrop weak. Trade routes. Pulse, Gauls wheat via Rhine barges. Egyptian grain Nile to austere cranes. Roads toll stations stock salt meat travel. You sample Falernian mellow, oak faint. Preservation genius, pitch-lined amphory, cork bungs. Winter silos tested probes long. Grain sound, spring sowing seed drills wooden, rose straight furrow. Flood failures, Tiber dikes breached 50 for BC. Levees reinforced fastens willow. Success, Varro's poultry yards ventilated, eggs stored lime boxes months. Market winds down, carts reload surplus charity. Night guards pace granaries, owls hooting pest control. Farm to forum chain, unbreakable, vintage buried, roots guarded, failures lessons. Moonrise silvers forum roofs as you explore animal husbandry depths, stables echoing low moos. Herds driven dawn from pastures rotational, fenced hurdles movable. Varro prescribed barns ventilated lofts hay, troughs sloped clean, oxen yoke padded. Plows curved deep turn, milking rhythmic dawn, cheese wheels brined barrels oak. Poultry coops tiered drop eggs shoots. Hens fed mash grained scraps. Preservation, eggs oiled shells months. Failures bite, 23 AD locust plagues. Hedgerows planted barriers. Cattle rust, brands hot iron. Patrols mounted, success. Apaceous recipes smoke hams beach. Salt cod dry racks. Garum factories austere ferment anchovies herbs. Sealed amphory, forum distribution dawn chaos ordered. Dole cues unknown chits checked. Grain weighed scales balanced. Bakers distribute loaves stamped. Ovens communal fuel shared. Preservation triumphs. Fruit dried trays sulfur fumed. Vegetables lacto fermented amphory brine. Vinegar pickles cabbage crisp winter. Honey sealed jars eternal. Night granary guards sniff mold. Air vents adjusted. Failures like spoiled Tiber shipment dumped quick. Prevent spread. Husbandry loops. Dung manured fields. Bones lime fields. Empire fed resilient. Animals stewarded. Food sealed time. Distribution equitable. Dawn next day breaks crisp. Farm tools gleaming dew as you examine innovations close. Plows iron-tipped share. Mold board turning sod neat. Seed drills hopper fed. Furrows spaced hoe perfect. Harrows spoked. Drag clods fine. Sickles serrated cut clean waste none. Seasonal cycles wheel. Spring sow barley clover mix. Summer hoe with flame torches. Autumn harvest sickles curved. Vintage feet dance vats. Winter prune graft science wax sealed. Barns thresh stored. Legacy endures. Columella's D-Ray Rustica blueprint medieval farms. Rotation saved soil erosion. You witness vintage festival. Grapes carted presses. Juice foaming sweet. Must boiled concentrate. Stored passum raisins. Tool failure. Rusty plowshares reheated vinegar pitted clean. Forum seasonal. Summer melons iced snow alps. Winter roots stored sand damp. Distribution legacy. Granaries inspired silos modern. Unknown welfare state precursor. Night falls fields quiet. Silos shadows tall. Cycles turn eternal. Tools evolve quiet. Feeding empire. Innovations plow deep. Seasons balanced. Legacy soil rich. Trade roots hum midday as you trace failures turning triumphs. Gallic grain barge sinks storm. Wrecks salvaged nets. Hulls tarred reuse. Egyptian convoy delayed Nile low. Reserves silos fill gap. Urban farming weaves in. Insular roofs garden herbs. Courtyards grapes walled. Chickens scavenge scraps. Eggs fresh. Pariaban truck farms irrigate aqueducts spill. Leaks radish daily forum. Full legacy blooms. Roman. Ag methods. Rotation. Irrigation. Preservation underpin Europe bread baskets. Vitruvius farm tools echo tractors. UN forum dusk. Stalls emptying. Air bread yeast lingering. Carts return fields. Cycle closes. From furrow to loaf, ingenuity starves famine. Tools precise, trade resilient. Urban patches supplement, legacy eternal. As the forum fades into a twilight hush, you shift your focus from the feast laid out before you to the healing powers of medicine, a craft born from the chaos of battle, yet nurtured in the comfort of home. The night may cloak the streets, but the herb shops are alive with a warm glow. Their scents of sage and thyme wafting through the air, inviting you in. You step into the apothecary, where shelves are lined with jars labeled in precise Latin. It's like stepping into a treasure trove of Galen's remedies, willow bark to reduce fevers. The precursor to aspirin, right? And then there's honey, a magical antiseptic for wounds, mixed with propolis for extra healing power. As dawn breaks, the military hospital echoes with the hustle of civilian life. Surgeons meticulously suture with silk thread and ligate arteries with dissolvable catgut. The ancient texts of Celsus guide their hands, wine cleans cuts, and vinegar keeps tools sterile. You watch the wound care unfold. A legionary is bandaged, honey sov drawing out pus, with fine gauze packing to keep infections at bay. Herbalists are out foraging seasonal plants, drying them in the shade to preserve their potency. Think about garlic as a natural antibiotic, or opium poppy to dull pain. Surgery takes a bold turn, with cataract couching using silver needles, and leather-padded hernia trusses. Anesthesia. Just a bit of mandrake wine to gently stupefy the patient. In neighborhoods, civilian clinics pop up, where midwives assist births using squatting stools and herbal rinses to bathe newborns. Fevers are managed with cold water sponges and willow tea. Plague wards are isolated, fumigated with sulfur, and guarded by watchful eyes. As military advances trickle back home, You see fracture splints made from bamboo and dental forceps to extract rotten teeth. Failures are humbling, like the late discovery of quinine for malaria. But successes stack up to eye salves in precise collyrium sticks and the early steps toward smallpox variolation. Medicinal baths in sulfur springs soothe skin, while mineral soaks ease aching joints. Evening visits from the physic mean pulse checks and herbal prescriptions. Practicality reigns here, observe. Test, adapt. You rest your healed hands, knowing your body is a temple well tended. We've traced the hidden threads of Romit's concrete structures endure. Pipes carry pure water. Fields yield fruitful harvests, and remedies restore life. These survival hacks are quiet yet profound. Empires may fall, but Rome lasts through the everyday. Settle in deeper. Friends, like, subscribe, and drop a comment about where you drift tonight. Sleep now, wrapped in the embrace of ancient wisdom, and fade gently into the night.